Two stories developing tonight. A child and a crossing guard rushed to the hospital after an auto pedestrian crash in Orem. And in Salt Lake City, one person is dead after being hit by a truck in a crosswalk.
Winds picking up ahead of our next storm. When does the front hit and how will it impact your weekend? I'll let you know.
More diversity of vegetation, more diversity of animal species.
Promoting habitat growth and protecting the watershed. How they're doing that by reseeding in parts of central Utah.
He was my best friend and he still is my best friend.
A young boy's life gone and his legacy of joy being remembered.
Those that drink and drive, I would just ask that you think twice before you do that.
The story behind Eli's tree and how the family hopes their loss can help others.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
We are tracking two developing stories tonight, both tragic cases on Utah roads. 3 people in 2 cities were hit in crosswalks, one seen in Salt Lake City, the other in Orem. One victim at the crash in Salt Lake has died. Good evening. I'm Adam Herbets, filling in for both Bob and Kelly tonight. And as we start our 9 o'clock newscast tonight, there is still a lot of information police are trying to gather in both investigations. Let's start with what we know so far in Salt Lake at the intersection of 2100 East and 1300 South. Fox 13 News reporter Jenna Bree has been tracking this story for us all night. She's live with the latest from police. Jenna? Go.
Police say a person was hit by a pickup truck while they were crossing the street in a marked crosswalk. Police were called to this intersection around 3:30 this afternoon. They say witnesses tried performing first aid before the victim was taken to the hospital in critical condition and later died there. The driver of the truck stayed on scene and cooperated with investigators.
This is a hard situation for everybody involved, and our hearts do go out to the families and friends of anybody who's involved in this circumstance in any way.
Police had shut down 2100 East in both directions at 1300 South, but they have cleared the scene and reopened the roads. So far, the name and age of the victim are not being released as police work to notify family members. This tragedy marks the 24th traffic-related death in Salt Lake City this year. Reporting live in Salt Lake City, Jenna Bree, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Jenna, thank you. As we go now to Orem, police say a car hit 2 people near 400 South and 400 West this afternoon. The victims are a crossing guard and a child. They are both in the hospital. The crossing guard was taken by ambulance. The child was taken by car. Police are not sharing details on their injuries at this time. They have also not said whether the driver is at fault. Breaking news just into the Fox 13 newsroom. The University of Utah confirms that several cameras were found and removed from bathrooms in the Student Life Center on campus. University police started looking for the cameras after someone found the first one taped under a sink in an all-gender bathroom and brought it to the front desk. 2 other cameras were also found taped under sinks in 2 other all-gender bathrooms in the same building. A suspect is in custody, but so far their name has not been made public. The director of the Student Life Center added a personal note in the press release saying, in part, quote, "I know that this information is upsetting and disturbing. Please know that university leaders share your outrage and will do everything in our power to hold responsible the person who destroyed our sense of safety and community." He added that the center has been thoroughly searched and staff will continue to check for cameras in the future. Salt Lake City police have arrested a man accused of breaking into the Heber M. Wells building downtown last Friday. The suspect has been identified as 44-year-old Anthony Jack. A spokesperson with the governor's office tells us he broke in through an unsecured door and then accessed secure areas with stolen security badges. So far, we do not know if any sensitive information was stolen. Governor Spencer Cox has since ordered all state agencies to review security plans, and police say Jack also broke into a law office located at 50 East South Temple. He's facing charges in both burglary cases. Tonight, 2 police officers in Layton are on administrative leave after they shot a man during a car chase on I-15. That incident shut down the highways for hours this morning. It all started before 6:30 a.m. when a woman called 911 to report someone suspicious parked in her driveway, sleeping inside and with a gun in their pocket. Police say when they got there, the man drove off, hitting 2 cop cars. Officers spiked his tires near University Park Boulevard, but that did not stop him from getting on I-15 South.
The suspect actually started firing rounds at our officers. We closed the distance and ended up, when we had an opportunity, trying to do a pit maneuver to disable his car and get him stopped. 2 of our officers were able to get out and exchange gunfire with the suspect.
The suspect was shot in the hip after the first pit maneuver, but just like the spike strip, that did not work either. So he drove off. Police did a second pit maneuver, and that is when the suspect surrendered. He was taken to Ogden Regional Medical Center. Police say they will release his name when he is booked into the Davis County Jail, probably tomorrow. Police are asking you to please keep your eyes out for this woman. A silver alert has been activated for 65-year-old Tuyet Lee. She was last seen around 11:15 yesterday morning near 1139 West North Temple, wearing an orange shirt with a black coat, carrying a small black bag. She's known for spending time near the University of Utah Library. She often rides UTA buses and tracks. Her primary language is Vietnamese. Her English is limited. If you see her, please call 911. A plane owned by the U.S. Air Force had to make an unscheduled stop in Salt Lake City this afternoon. A spokesperson for the Utah Army National Guard says the plane was traveling from California to North Carolina for maintenance. The crew noticed mid-flight there was a small crack in one of the cockpit windows, so they landed to make the necessary repairs. Nobody was hurt. We're going to take a look at Utah's weather now. Allison's off for the night, so we get Breck. Hey, Breck.
Well, good evening. Yeah, as I'm here filling in for Allison, getting you ready for our next winter storm on its way. But today, a nice day, a break from the storms, and actually finding temperatures a little bit warmer as we ended the day on a high note. Sharing this photo coming up on our Facebook page. Provo Station highlighting that we had mostly clear skies, a lot of sunshine today, and even warmer temperatures. A big climb in contrast to yesterday, as the official high in Salt Lake City, 47 degrees above average, mid-40s in Provo, upper 30s in Logan, even 50s as we turn towards west central, southwestern Utah. One thing that did help out is we build in some high pressure, also some winds increasing here, especially throughout the afternoon. Looking at your current temperatures, haven't seen a big change yet. Salt Lake City, you're still holding on to the 40s. Again, one of the reasons are those south winds. It's breezy out there here across northern into western Utah. Sustained winds anywhere between 15 to 20 miles per hour. We'll see those winds, well, they'll continue to increase. Getting ready for that next cold front, winter storm on the way. I'll tell you when it will hit coming up in just a bit.
Confronting the homelessness crisis, Utah leaders went to Miami to study that city's strategies, why they went and how they plan to apply what they learned.
Since he was born, every day he would make me laugh, every day.
Plus, the Festival of Trees is bringing light to a local family, coping with the loss of a son. We'll show you how.
We say that Kevin Costner's been our #1 salesperson for the last 4 years.
And there's a uniquely Utah tie to the hit TV show Yellowstone. We'll take you inside a local cowboy shop that's been around for nearly 150 years. Iranian Scholars for Liberty rallied on the University of Utah campus today and on more than 100 other campuses worldwide. The rally is to continue focusing attention on 22-year-old Mahsa Amini, who was arrested by Iran's morality police for not wearing her hijab correctly and died in their custody. The rally is also to show solidarity with the thousands of Iranians who are fighting for human rights.
There's so much going on in Iran. People are trying to get their freedom back, and they're trying to looking for a democratic government. But these specific events that are happening are focused on the universities, and it's in the protest for the crackdown of the governments on the academics.
That professor says she thinks the current uprising in Iran is different because it started with the mistreatment of a woman. It's about the rights of women, and perhaps most importantly, it's led by women. New at 9, the Department of Emergency Services at Utah Valley University welcomed delegates from Morocco today to help them improve their response to emergencies. They're in town to learn firsthand how EMS operates in the U.S. Crews with Orem Fire demonstrated how to use the jaws of life and gave Moroccan doctors and professors a tour of their station, ambulances, and equipment. They also participated in a mock trauma at Timpanogos Regional Hospital.
We're having an opportunity to show them how things are done here in Orem City, all the way from where we pick up a patient, extract them from a car, dropping them off at the emergency room, and them receiving high-quality trauma care.
Today's event was all part of the state partnership program with the U.S. Embassy in Morocco. The Utah National Guard sponsored their visit. Utah has worked with Morocco on projects like this, enhancing global health and EMS for nearly 3 decades. It's a project to benefit habitats many of you may not know even existed before now. Fox 13 News anchor Brian Schneed takes us to rural San Pete County with a look at what the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources is doing to try and improve the ecosystem.
It can be pretty quiet at this airstrip in central Utah.
Here it is 11 and we haven't even gotten going yet. As a little kid, I used to always watch the spray planes spray in the fields. The airplane will basically fit one of these tote bags.
We're actually doing a watershed level project, so it's starting way up on the top of the mountain there, all the way down into the lower foothills.
Division of Wildlife Resources is implementing a multi-phase project in the 12-mile wildlife management area.
It's a very crucial watershed for the town of Mayfield and Gunnison.
They started with mulching juniper trees that overcrowded other vegetation and forced them out.
The goal is to get diversity of habitats, of vegetation types. So more diversity of vegetation, more diversity of animal species.
The project outside of Gunnison incorporates about 700 acres. This is the seed that is going to end up on that landscape. For this project, they needed to use specialized aircraft. The plane provides aerial reseeding to the area.
Seeding helps just to get those native plants growing back faster so we don't get a bunch of weed species coming in.
The area has seen a decline in the deer population over recent years, so the project also hopes to encourage some big game to come back.
The deer and elk are going to use this project a lot through the months of probably December to May.
Chuck flies the plane.
Typically, throughout the year, we do about 70 to 120,000 acres of seed projects.
They load up the seed?
One load, depending on the seed rates, but usually does around 100 to 120 acres.
And head out.
I love to do this, not only because I get to fly, but also because I love to spend time out in the mountains. And I like the fact that I get to help deer and elk.
The goal is to do more of these preventative projects so restoration isn't needed in the future.
Hopefully by doing this project we'll help make that habitat better so we don't have these big crashes in our populations.
In San Pete County.
For me, that makes me feel good and makes me feel like I'm actually doing something.
Brian Schnee, Fox 13 News, Utah.
This project, along with many others across the state, is done in partnership with the Utah Watershed Restoration Initiative. Check it out right there on your screen. Their website shows the amount of projects proposed, in the works, and completed. If you want to take a closer look, it's also on our website, fox13now.com. Final day of November, and I feel like it's kind of felt like December for at least the past few days.
Really,
no?
It's been a cold November, chilly. We finally warmed up today above average, which was kind of rare for November. Of course, we brought in those winter storms through the month, and we're going to continue that trend to start the first week off here in December. Yeah, we're talking about our next winter storm. But tonight, it was nice out there. Sharing another photo coming in from Chris at Liberty Park with mostly clear skies. You see the snow from our recent storm tracked out, but we'll bring in some fresh snow here as we look towards looking tomorrow night through the weekend. Now, official high today, 47 degrees, again above average. We should be in the mid 40s. Record, as we can see, at 68 degrees. We're going to be looking at temperatures dropping once again in preparation of our next cold front, but we still get one more day with temperatures above average as we're finding temperatures fairly mild, at least for this time of year and for this time of the evening, where right now we're at 43 degrees. Notice the winds out of the south. We've been noticing winds increasing here over the past few hours coming in from the south. A good indication that a storm is on the way. Storm, though, doesn't get here until tomorrow evening, so expect to see those winds picking up. And once it does hit, it's going to bring moderate to heavy snowfall here, initially across northern Utah, then tracking through in the overnight hours Friday through Saturday morning. Significant mountain accumulation expected, and the valleys will get into the mix. Thus, in preparation with the storm, National Weather Service issuing some advisories, first with the focus on the winds. This will be in place for tomorrow as that wind advisory incorporating, as you can see, going all the way from Box Elder County through Iron County. So it's mainly looking towards western Utah, incorporating the Tooele Valley, though. We could see wind gusts 50 to 55 miles per hour. Some stronger those winds as look to sustain them anywhere between 25 to 35 miles per hour. All in blue is what we're looking at with the winter storm watch. Now, this will be changed, giving you more advisories and warnings to be in place for tomorrow, but the watch is just saying, hey, get ready for this. Now, how much snow are we talking about? With a big focus over the mountains, I'm going to show you next 24 hours, not going to see much. So even looking towards tomorrow evening, right around this time, it's just getting going. But boy, tomorrow night, especially after midnight through Friday evening, yeah, we're talking on a range anywhere between 12 to 18 inches. Could find some areas a little bit more than that. So an impressive storm. And again, it really gets going tomorrow evening. Some clouds tracking through right now, though, here across northern Utah. No issues in the overnight hours. Might see some light showers there as we look near the Utah-Idaho border, but there's the cold front in its position. Let's time it out for you. Okay, as I said, tomorrow it's just the focus of the winds and increasing clouds throughout the afternoon. We might see some light showers there across the mountains of northern Utah as we look at the afternoon commute. Then the front hits tomorrow evening, especially as we go 9 o'clock to midnight. Overnight, it sweeps through the Wasatch Front. It lingers on into the mid-morning hours, then pushes away, and then we're good to go thereafter. So if you're traveling for the Ute game, don't get too early of a start. You'll want to leave after 9 o'clock moving through the state. Hopefully, though, if you have a chance to go tomorrow, I definitely would recommend that. Tonight, as you can see, we'll be looking at partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, it's warmer but windy. Upper 40s to low 50s. Many locations in the 50s there through central Utah. St. George, you're 57. As you won't see much shower activity, as we'll be looking at some warmer temperatures and temperatures to remain in the 50s for the next several days. Now, the storm hits tomorrow night through Friday morning. Clear Saturday. Then another storm bringing a mixture of rain and snow Sunday through Monday. We'll be looking at more colder temperatures next week, but good news is we get more snow and more storms on the way.
A classroom project turned into a community effort with the opportunity for all of us to join in.
Air quality is one of the biggest challenges for our state, but in Utah County, a college class project led to something bigger when students inspired people outside their classroom. Fox 13 News anchor Max Roth takes an in-depth look at what they hope to accomplish.
These senior PR students came up with a campaign they call Give the Gift of Clean Air. The idea, ride public transit as a gift to those around us. The buses and trains, the giant pedestrian bridge, all inspirations for a clean air campaign, but the biggest inspiration, a classmate's respiration.
And we just had this assignment where we needed to create a PR campaign along with UVU sustainability, and I was like, hey, my lungs suck because of the air quality. What if we do something related to that?
Caitlin Bennett's had a tough time breathing in her hometown.
It requires a lot of ER visits. It's a lot of really fast trips to the ER and ambulance rides. And so that was kind of my motivation for getting this campaign started, because I'm sick of it.
Hence the t-shirts, the fog machine, the news conference, and the community partners.
They presented their ideas back in October, and we're fortunate to have UTA come and listen. And from there, it just really grew.
It's been a game changer for Utah County to have students riding transit. 80% of the ridership on our UVX system are students. And students took to the transit ridership just immediately, as soon as they got their passes for free, both at UVU and at BYU.
So UTA saw real partners with their campaign to get people on a bus or a train, well-timed at the outset of inversion season.
The students were amazing. It is so fun to see a spark light and to see them reach higher, not just do what's required, but really tackle a problem.
And what's good for the lungs also looks pretty good for soon-to-be graduates.
We keep teasing each other. We're like, this is going to look awesome on a resume, and it's going to look great for jobs in the future and give us great experience. So it's been really cool to get like hands-on experience. That's something that I love about UVU.
So Caitlin says that her breathing problems have actually improved. She found some good doctors who have treatments that are working for her. In studio, Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Salt Lake City's new plan to tackle homelessness after a trip to what some may view as an unlikely city to do homeless research, where they went and how they're going to apply what they learned here.
We'll just keep living for Eli.
Every tree at the Festival of Trees has a story to tell, and one family is here to tell their story.
The state of Utah is running out of liquor licenses. What lawmakers may have to do to meet the growing needs of a growing state.
I think it's really brought to light how cool the Western heritage really is.
And a hat shop in rural Utah is making a huge impact on Hollywood fashion. What's making it the go-to place for all things Western? The mayor of Salt Lake City joined other county and state leaders to look outside Utah for inspiration on how to better help the city's homeless population. So they traveled to Miami. And while some of the challenges are very different, especially when you compare Miami's weather to Salt Lake's, the team said they still learned quite a bit. Here's Fox 13 News reporter Darian DeBrule.
Carrie Francis knows a lot about homelessness in Salt Lake City.
Something needs to be done more in the system altogether.
She's witnessed it all herself as a person experiencing homelessness. City, county, and state leaders traveled to Miami and learned a lot about how the various agencies work together with one goal.
What was remarkable for me was that Miami-Dade has taken some of the principles that we already have in place, that we have intuitively and institutionally implemented, but built a cohesive response, a community response.
Their community response includes bringing together behavioral, business, and criminal justice spheres. Collaboration, they say, helps serve the homeless community better.
What we saw in the data that proved out in Miami over the last 22 years is that they are spending a fraction of the cost on serving these high needs and high impact individuals in the right way.
In this new system, arrests and the criminal justice system are used less.
Unfortunately, we have looked to the criminal justice system to be our crisis managers, and what we have learned is that we will never be able to arrest our way out of this situation.
The systems continue to cycle people through without resolving much of anything, and sometimes making it worse.
Carrie Francis says that's exactly what cycling through the legal system does.
It really impacts their life. I mean, if you have a warrant and you apply for a job, they will not hire you until you get that warrant cleared. And a lot of people miss out on opportunities of employment.
City and county leaders say this is the right step forward in solving homelessness.
We can do this. We are absolutely capable of doing this, and we very much want to do this. It's right for those individuals and the needs they have. It's right for our broader community, and it's right for our taxpayers.
Mayor Mendenhall says she hopes to start implementing system mapping and other things they learned on their Miami trip in the first quarter of next year. In Salt Lake City, I'm Darian DeBrule, Fox 13 News, Utah.
A community has been grieving since a 13-year-old was killed when he was biking home in West Jordan this past April. This is Eli Mitchell. On Monday, the driver, 50-year-old Mason Andrew Ohms, pleaded guilty to criminal homicide, automobile homicide, and leaving the scene of an accident involving death. This video shows his truck leaving the scene of the crash. Now, with the holiday season underway, the family says they want to celebrate their son's life and use his light to bring joy. Fox 13 News reporter Maithili Gubi introduces us to the Mitchell family and how they are showcasing Eli's memory.
Every tree here at the Festival of Trees has a story to tell, but behind the story of one tree is a family trying to get a message out about losing a loved one.
Eli read all the Harry Potter books probably like 15 times.
A 13-year-old boy who loved reading, snowboarding, and people.
The most unique kid you could ever meet. Since he was born, every day he would make me laugh, every day.
But his life was tragically cut short when he was riding his bicycle at a crosswalk and was hit by a drunk driver back in April.
He was my best friend, and he still is my best friend.
And for the past couple months, his family has been working to cope with this loss.
Super hard. So hard. People will say, you know, you'll get through it, and we'll never get through it. We'll just keep living for Eli and just keep living like him. He lived big. Help him inspire others, even though he's not here.
So the community came together to decorate a tree at the Festival of Trees to honor Eli's memory.
It just reminds me of Eli when I see it every little bit. Eli loves Harry Potter. Loves Harry Potter. I choose to think he's still reading Harry Potter in heaven.
Filled with Harry Potter books, the Sorting Hat, owls, trinkets, Eli's Hogwarts acceptance letter, and quotes from the series.
The ones that love us never really leave us. I love it. Right when I saw the tree, that's the first thing I was drawn to. And I feel that so strongly.
The Mitchell family wants to raise awareness about what happened so no other family has to go through their pain.
Those that drink and drive, I would just ask that you think twice before you do that. I realize that you're probably like, I'll probably make it home, there'll probably be no problems, but all it takes is something like this happening, and it impacts a family and their friends, but it also impacts the person's family that did it.
Eli's tree stands tall and bright because people wanted to show the Mitchell family that they are loved and not alone.
It's really cool that people still care and people are willing to do this for our family and just for Eli.
Eli's family says they want people to continue to remember the kind boy he was and how his love for Harry Potter will live on. At the Festival of Trees, I'm Maithili Gubi, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Maithili, thank you. Coming up, why Utah Republicans might be forced to hand out more liquor licenses and why some view the shortage as a good problem to have. And the former mayor of Salt Lake City wants his job back. Why Rocky Anderson says it's time to fix Utah's capital city. Utah's Alcohol Control Authority is running out of liquor licenses, and even though they are reluctant, Utah lawmakers might be forced to increase the number of liquor licenses. The Utah legislature gives one license per 10,200, and they're out, with a lot of bars still in line. Now they're also running out of licenses they give to restaurants.
There's just great explosion of the economy here in Utah. We're so lucky. So many people have moved in from out of state that we just have this demand.
Governor Spencer Cox said he supports increasing the number of bar licenses. Restaurant and hospitality groups say, from their perspective, lawmakers seem more willing than before to have that conversation. Former Salt Lake City Mayor Rocky Anderson has announced his campaign to get his old job back. He was mayor from 2000 to 2008, criticizing the administration of current Mayor Erin Mendenhall and her predecessor, Mayor Jackie Biskupski, over issues ranging from homelessness to public toilets and policing. He says he will institute sweeping changes like sanctioned homelessness camps and government-funded housing.
We need to turn the city around, and I know I can build the team, and we can look back after not even a full term. We're going to look back after a relatively short period and see major, major changes that are beneficial to everybody in Salt Lake City.
Mayor Erin Mendenhall is planning to seek re-election. Today, she declined to discuss her new challenger, saying she's focused on governing, not campaigning.
They enjoy what they do, and they are making something that can last generation to generation, and they all know that.
Did you know the oldest family-owned Western shop in America is right here in Utah? Well, we'll show you some of the cool things that have been made there. Still ahead in the latest installment of Uniquely Utah.
And later in sports, Weber State's playoff run resumes over the weekend, this time with a rematch on the road. Well, the Jazz needed a long-awaited win to get off the schneid. Was it tonight? Maybe. Back in a bit.
It's time for this week's edition of Uniquely Utah. From the Wild West of the past to the modern fashion of today, the look of a cowboy is unmistakable. But what you might not know is there is a store in central Utah that's played a big role in shaping the look of modern Western fashion, thanks to its many contributions to popular culture. Fox 13 News reporter Spencer Joseph got a first-hand look at their booming operations, thanks to a very popular TV show.
In the small town of Salina, Utah, sits a shop which has stood the test of time.
So Utah has been an amazing place to have our operation. All of us have some point in our lineage when our ancestors set out and seeking a better life. I think that's why so many people are attached to the cowboy or Western lifestyle. It was a short period in time, but that's really what it embodies, is striking out on your own, trying to make your life better for you and for your posterity.
And that Western start is how Burns Saddlery came to be.
We have a great family story, and it's a story of entrepreneurship.
Starting in 1876 with Miles Burns, the business has transformed from blacksmiths to horse-drawn carriages and saddles to inventing car seat covers and now creating luxury Western wear.
The business has always pivoted. I think that's one key thing that we've learned from our progenitors, and we've just been able to keep evolving and moving forward.
This is Braden Shaw, the sixth generation of Burns to run what is now the oldest family-owned Western shop in America.
So I can shape that one up for you.
And like those before him that have all brought a unique twist to the company, this is his passion. But hats are just the start of what they do.
We have 105 employees here in a little small community, 60-some craftsmen building handmade products, from custom boots, some saddles, belt buckles, hats.
Anything that's handmade and got heart and soul into it can really make that product better.
This is Matthew Warner.
He's put the insole on the last. Well, I actually am a saddle maker by trade. Started about 15 years ago in the saddle making.
Now as president of production, his job is to oversee quality.
The process we have here, it's all still made by hand.
Functional art is what we build. So that's something that's very much functional and used in the elements, from the cowboy hat to the saddle. It's something that can be used and abused but still last a lifetime. They're building heirloom quality products.
That's one thing we all care about in this room, making sure we're doing high quality, the best work we can, and the craftsmanship is constantly moving forward.
And dedication to craft has grown their business from a tiny shop to now having retail spaces in other states and shipping around the country and the world. But it was their Park City store that created an opportunity that no one saw coming.
All circumstance that they were filming in Park City, walked into our Park City store, the costume designer, and says, hey, we're filming this project, Yellowstone. I thought it was a documentary, right? So we didn't know the premise, and they're looking for this product, and we were able to fit the cast.
There's no question, Utahns love the show Yellowstone. And with it, the fashion of the characters.
It's really rewarding to see your product on the silver screen. Hey, Matt built that product, or Jose engraved this buckle, and it's really cool to see that, and I think our craftsmen really appreciate that as well, and it really uplifts them that it's like, hey, I did that.
It's a partnership that's continued till today.
When they moved the filming to Montana, we got less of the we need it quick product, but we're still doing those iconic pieces for season 5 that's just out. This is actually the John Dutton season 5, so the black hat that he wears there.
And with the show's popularity comes orders. Lots and lots of them.
We say that Kevin Costner's been our #1 salesperson for the last 4 years. We ship Yellowstone hats and belts and buckles all over the world. So it's been great for business and the industry in whole.
Pretty much everything from the show they make, you can buy.
Hats, for sure, are the most recognizable and iconic pieces on the show. So the John Dutton hat, the Beth hat, you know, they're the things that are most requested and that we sell the most of. You know, the belts and the buckles are cool and we sell them. And boots are a little more unique and individual depending on what style you want.
So as the show heads into its 5th season,
I think for the success that the show has, it's awesome that we have one small part in that.
Yellowstone has brought a lot of light to the new age Western era.
It's revitalized Western culture.
And I do believe it's helped the saddle industry, the hat industry, boot industry, shafts, all that stuff. I think it's really brought to light how cool the Western heritage really is.
And solidified a small shop.
We're really fortunate to live in a small community of Salina.
The big history into everyone's hearts and minds. And it lets you own a little piece of this shop story that's so uniquely Utah.
It's an iconic part of America.
Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News.
And that's what we keep alive.
Utah.
So awesome to see what's being made here right in the state. Well, salutations to Salina. And hey, Salina, you're going to see snow in your forecasts pretty much statewide. We're going to see snow, especially Friday, here as another winter storm making its march. Outside right now, a few high clouds here across northern Utah. It's been a mild day where afternoon highs getting up above average, slightly into the upper 40s. And we're still hanging on to the 40s at this hour in Salt Lake City with those winds out of the south. An indication that we've got a cold front approaching, as the winds will be more of an issue for tomorrow. As we look right now along the Wasatch Front through west central Utah, finding sustained winds anywhere between 15 to 25 miles per hour. And they only look to get stronger as we head into your Thursday forecast. So looking at the winds, our models showing, especially tomorrow afternoon, ahead of the front, west central, southwestern Utah up through Tooele Valley, we could see sustained winds, as mentioned, 25 to 35 miles per hour with potential wind gusts in excess of 55 miles per hour. Now, the front will be moving through come tomorrow evening about this time, moving through the Wasatch Front, where most of the activity really gets going in the overnight hours. Waking up Friday, we're going to see holding on to some stronger winds across eastern Utah, and then we'll clear out nicely where winds will not be much of a factor heading into the weekend. Now, as I mentioned, wind advisories will be in place across western Utah tomorrow, and we have a winter storm watch in effect, which this will be upgraded, where we'll have advisories and warnings in place in preparation of this winter storm. As we know, it'll be a snow producer, where expected as we go for tomorrow night through Friday afternoon, 12 to 18 inches for the northern mountains. Now, the southern mountains, it's kind of more of a range between 5 to 10 inches. Now, Valley's getting into the mix with a potential of 2 to 5 inches. So that means Friday morning, you're doing some shoveling and more snow expected for the Wasatch back. Right now, we're just seeing some high clouds moving through. Storms still out there. So for tonight, we'll see those clouds. Maybe a light shower near the Utah-Idaho border, but that's not due to the cold front. That's ahead of the front. Here's the position of this front, and ahead of that we'll find those stronger winds. But this front tracking through tomorrow, where the focus will be between 9 o'clock p.m. through midnight, and then overnight the snow will fall. So it's going to be a concern for your Friday morning commute, but tomorrow morning's commute, no issues. We've got some clouds, temperatures warmer to start there, as we'll be looking at some breezy conditions, but no issues for precipitation. Now, the precipitation will fall across extreme northwestern Utah, eastern Nevada, Nevada, but get going, moving through here, northern Utah, and then overnight moving through the state again as we go from Thursday night through Friday morning. But ahead of that, and with those winds, many locations getting up into the upper 40s to low 50s. Now, if you're traveling to go to the Pac-12 championship, heading to Las Vegas, if you go tomorrow, no issues. If you're going to wait until Friday, don't get too early of a start. You actually should wait here across the Wasatch Front until after 9 a.m. Then you're good to go. Might have to wait another hour or two if you're in southern Utah, but all in all, we're going to have a messy Friday early morning commute for St. George. You're not getting into the precipitation. You're going to be looking at just a few clouds around, and they'll be looking at a nice weekend. Northern Utah, showers tomorrow night through early Friday morning, then another storm Sunday and Monday. We still got some winter storms and winter weather on tap. At least Saturday we'll get a break, but more snow on our way.
The Monday before last, the Jazz dropped the road game to the Clippers, though little did anyone know at the time that Utah would face LA again 9 days later, not having won a single game since. The Jazz losing streak up to 5 games and hopefully not counting with the Clippers at Vivint Arena tonight. And it helps to have their top 2 guns, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, out of commission for this one. Jordan Clarkson pulling up like diapers. Utah up a half dozen in the first. Then the kick out and over for a wide open Simone Fontecchio. Love saying that name. The Italian stallion to lift the Jazz up 10 early. The Paperclips owning quarter 2. Former top overall pick back in 2010, John Wall, 3-point play, and LA led at the half. But the Jazz trumpet back up with a big third. How about the range from Kelly Olynyk? In fact, the late offseason pick is going to go inside this time and lay high off the glass as well. Then Lauri Markkanen on the move. Ball pops right into the arms of Walker Kessler to end the quarter. In fact, the dunk was the story of the final quarter. Jared Vanderbilt cleaning up the Clarkson miss. Then Clarkson meaning to find him this time. A game-high 33 for Jordan, 14 and 12 boards by Vanderbilt. There it is, 125-112. Utah's first win in a while. Down in Cedar City, SUU entertained Montana State. This one a down-to-the-wire finish. Raekwon battle to lift the road team up 83-81 with just over a buck left. T-Birds tie it next time down. Errant ball ends up in the hands of the Aussie Jason Spurgeon. And then playing for the win, only they cough it up. It's battle again. A game-high 29 points for him. Deng out for Deng Dutz for SUU at the end. It nearly goes, though they fall to 4-4. On the year. Speaking of Montana State, 6 weeks ago, Weber State traveled up to Bozeman for what was at the time a marquee top 5 battle nationally, though it was also one that ended up making headlines for a different reason. One of the wackiest games you ever will see. It was cold and blustery that day, so it was no surprise to see long snapper Grant Sands overshoot the punter for a safety in the opening quarter. The problem is he did the very same thing twice more in the second quarter, another time in the third for an FCS record, 4 safeties in one game. It resulted in the Wildcats' first loss at the time, but they'll get another shot at the 4-seeded Bobcats on Saturday when they visit Montana State for a second-round playoff matchup.
I talked to Grant Sands today. I said, Grant, you know you're going to go in there and the players are going to be talking smack and the fans are going to be on you, and we all know what happened last time. He smiled at me. He's like, Coach, I know that. And this is not something we hide from. And we understand that we made some costly mistakes last time, but we also understand with all those crazy mistakes and everything that went against us in that game, we still had a chance. We were 20 yards away from winning that game at the end. And that's the reality. We're going to have to go in there, make a few more plays than we did last time. We got to play clean.
Yeah, before we get to that one, though, we've got the Pac-12 championship game. You can catch the Utes face Southern Cal in Vegas right here beginning at 6 on Friday night. Our countdown to kickoff coverage begins an hour and a half earlier at 4:30. We'll be right back.
We've been talking football, but in a few minutes, we'll be talking QuickCast. See you in a couple.